building is what we call the webinar classes. We have other programs that we do. And if you need to know more about our programs, you can visit our website, www.lsetf.ng. Or you can chat us up, send us a direct message through all our various social media platforms. We're on Instagram, LSETF, Facebook, LSETF, Twitter, LSETF. So if you need further information about our programs, you can send a message to us via our website and our social media platform. So now straight to today's event. Like I said, this is the webinar class for business owners, and I'm sure you're already watching your mouth to know what we want to dish out today. So the topic for today is raising funds to grow your business. Now, as an M&E, as the monitoring evaluation expert, I know one of the major challenge for business owners is how to get funding to either improve their business or expand their business. And I believe that for those that have that challenge that are on this platform, we are going to have many of your questions being answered, many of your doubts being cleared today, because we have here one of our best and knowledgeable experts to really bring, to really help us to take this very well. So let me go straight now to introduce to us our amazing facilitator today. The name of our facilitator is Ephraim Unuigbe. I hope I pronounced that very well. So who is Ephraim? Ephraim is a highly qualified professional with a diverse range of credentials. He holds a BSc in accounting, and he is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Yeah, you know what that means. Ephraim is a certified information system auditor. He obtained certification from Information System Audit and Control Association. Alongside his accounting expert, he is also the author of many books on career and personal finance, certified as a public speaker and a career and personal finance coach. So can you now see how well knowledgeable our facilitator is that we have brought for you today? Ephraim's knowledge extends beyond traditional accounting roles, as he is experienced in areas such as preparing pitch decks, creating business plans for MSMEs, that's micro, small, and medium enterprise, and offering valuable insights to MSME accounting. Presently, Ephraim is employed as one of the leading accounting firms in the United Kingdom, where he assumes the responsibility of providing assurance services to corporate clients, leveraging his professional background and skills. Ephraim ensures the delivery of reliable and accurate financial information to aid clients in making informed decisions. Wow. His comprehensive understanding of auditing practice and regulations enables him to maintain high standard of service and meet the diverse needs of the firm's clients. In addition to his professional endeavors, Ephraim is actively contributing to the community and engaging in various board positions. He serves as the Director of Corporate Governance on the board of ACTRI, a Nigerian literacy organization dedicated to improve literacy rates. Furthermore, Ephraim is a board member of Ancient Sixth Form College in the United Kingdom, where he is actively participating in strategic decision-making process of the organization, and also is committed to both his professional and community, where he is really impacting his community based on his professional background. Personally, Ephraim is married to a beautiful lady, Mariam Unuigbe. Please permit me, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that very well. and they have been blessed with two lovely children, Esion Elizabeth and Daniel Chukudi, who brings them great joy to their lives. So on this note, I would like to welcome our facilitator today, Mr. Ephraim Unuigbe. Please, can you just with a chat, welcome him, send him a chat by saying you're welcome, to let to know that yes, he is really welcome. Thank you so much for having you, Mr. Ephraim. It's nice to see you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Auditor. Very much. Thank you for your elaborate explanation. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You tried with my name pronunciation. It's actually Unuigbe. So I'm originally from Edo State, but over the years I have lived in Lagos before I relocated to the United Kingdom. I did my primary school in Lagos, secondary school. Then throughout my university days, I was still based in Lagos. But yeah, I'm a Lagos boy.
So you're here for us. You're a product of Lagos State.
Definitely. I started having sense in Lagos. So definitely. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present. Really appreciate this opportunity. Not every time we get such an invitation from the most prosperous state in Nigeria. It's an honor to be here. Thank you. And to the audience, I want to appreciate you for joining, taking out time on a busy Wednesday. This is the height of business. And when you look at productivities during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday is usually the high peak of it. And you have found some time to join us today. Thank you very much. I'll be sharing screen later, but just to do a proper introduction on the subject before we go through the slides. If you're here, it means that you're one of the few very fortunate individuals to have a business or thinking of having one. I understand the audience cuts across many fields of employers, employees, entrepreneurs, self-employed, those that are thinking of starting one in the nearest future. So the presentation will cut across all of these fields, and I'm hopeful that the end product would be valuable to you and help you move your business forward. And if you haven't started, help you make that decision to start. You would agree that these are intriguing times in our country where governance has changed hands, and the new government is introducing a lot of reforms, and these reforms have the ability or capacity to affect every single individual. If you're not already feeling it, I'm sure you are, or someone you know would already be feeling it, and soon enough, it will get to you. With the high cost of energy, fuel, and I hear they are going to increase the cost of electricity. You know, the cost of doing business has increased. This could lead to layoff of staff if businesses can meet up with the salary payments and things like that. So these are very interesting times, and it'll be good if you start thinking how to start something on your own to move your life and your family, of course, to the next level. One thing that I found really interesting is every person privileged to work in Nigeria has backload of people that are counting on them for support. So even if you don't want to succeed for yourself, you need to think about the people that are depending on you for success. All right, but we know that the Lagos State, through the Employment Trust Fund, is helping businesses like yours with not just providing financial resources, They are also providing valuable resources from operational assistance and also for capacity building, like Mr. Deton mentioned earlier. So this support is instrumental in strengthening the foundation of many businesses across the states from different people, and not just people originally from Lagos, even people that have found Lagos as their base, and people that have come to understand Lagos as their new home. So if you're based in Lagos, it's a great opportunity for you to link up with the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund and get started. Small businesses or medium or SMEs, like we usually call them, serve as the lifeblood of economics worldwide for various reasons. Just so we have some coordination, I'll take questions at the end so that you can write your questions down so that I don't break the flow of presentation. Then we can address all of those questions. I see someone raising their hand as I'm mentioning that. So firstly, for SMEs, they are relatively easy to establish. Some of the advantages: they offer opportunities for entrepreneurial endeavors. So you see a lot of people start businesses quickly. It's easy to register a business, and sorry to say, but a lot of small businesses in Nigeria don't even need to register before they start functioning. But we know that is the informal sector. For you to deal with the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, you need to be properly registered. But it's easy to register, easy to start. You can start by yourself, start with your wife if you're married, or partner with someone. SMEs are very easy to start, and there are great opportunities for reducing poverty all over the world. To illustrate, I will just share some examples. In China, this information is gotten from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, popularly called OECD. There were 140 million SMEs and self-employed individuals in 2020. Micro, small enterprises accounted for 98.5% of all the companies in China. These SMEs contributed significantly to the economy, representing over 60% of total GDP, 50% of tax income, and 75% of job creation, and 68% for export. We know that China is a big country, and almost every country in the world is afraid of China now because of their enterprising nature. And their enterprise is mostly driven by SMEs. Like we have given some statistics, covers more than 60% of the GDP, which is significant. Similarly, in the United States, some companies or small businesses with 500 employees or below constitute 99.9% of the total businesses and 99.7% of businesses that pay employees. And these firms totals 27 million enterprise in total. These small businesses also generate approximately 50% of the country's GDP, contributing to its growth and vitality in various important sectors of the economy. You know rightly that the US is currently the largest economy in the world with over 24 billion GDP or trillion GDP that they have. So let's take it home to Nigeria. But first of all, just to separate for the purpose of information, micro, small, medium, and large organizations are categorized by their sizes. Micros are 1 to 10 employees. So if your business is 1 to 10 employees, you know that you fall under micro business and your turnover is less than ₦1 million per annum. Then for small businesses, 11 to 35 employees, but from 1 million to about 40 million naira per annum. Medium, 36 employees to about 100, with 40 million to about 200 million naira per annum. Then large companies are from over 100 employees and over 200 million naira and above. This information is from the National Council of Industry. This is how it is categorized. So taking it home, like I said, in Nigeria, small businesses constitute a large portion of the private sector. It contributes over 50% of employment opportunities. According to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, small businesses accounted for 48% of our GDP over the last 5 years. They also currently employ 50% of industrial workers, representing 96% of businesses, and provide 84% of employment opportunities in the country. That is huge. So everyone you see employed in Nigeria today, 84% of that are employed by MSMEs. And from the recent statistics by SMEDAN, 70% of that population are youth. Youth is 40 years and below. So you see, you play, or your business plays significant aspects of our national development, which is very key to a prosperous country. We know that the SMEs have challenges, and when I was in, is it ND? Okay, I actually did ND before doing BSc. My banking lecturer would say that Nigerians' challenges are no longer challenges. If you have had challenges since 1960, then it's probably a cause. But I don't believe that Nigerian cause, because I pray for Nigeria and I believe that we'll get there someday. I always tell my friends that there's light at the end of the tunnel. So this is the hope that we are preaching. You have to believe it, even though what we are seeing now doesn't look like it. But we know the problems: power shortage, inadequate structures, security concerns, funding limitations. Despite all of these challenges, we know that small businesses have continued to thrive, even with these limitations. Again, a very funny story. In school, someone was saying, "Oh, there's no lights, but is that why you're not reading? Why can't you read when there's light?" Nigerians know how to just survive. You know, we are survivors, and if you're here, you're also a survivor. So it doesn't matter the challenges. Notwithstanding these challenges, which we have said, money is a key factor. This is why the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund is key to bridging that gap. And this is really why we are here. So we'll dive into the slides and we'll go through proper how to raise funds for your businesses through grants, equities, and loans, and see how we go from there.
While we wait for our facilitator to present, please note that if you have any question, kindly write them down. Then after the section, you will have the opportunity to ask your questions. Thank you.
Can you see? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So raising fund to grow your business through equity, grants, and loan. We have done the welcome. I've introduced the topic, and we are looking at these three main sources of funding: equity, grants, and loan. We go one after the other. My slide probably something that Mr. Dayton can share with you later. I'm happy for you to go out. Quite detailed. I actually did it this way so that even if you didn't attend the program, you still get value, apart from the side talk and jokes that we crack. But I'm sure you'll find it very valuable. So equities are financing that involves raising capital through selling shares or ownership stakes in your business. So as a small business, you can decide to sell part of your ownership. You're relinquishing part of your rights for others to participate in ownership of the business. Would look at how these are different from loan, but just to give you a highlight, for loan, you have to pay back. For equity financing, you don't have to pay back. The people providing you that source of fund own part of that company. So you share the risk, you share the reward. If you're making profit, you split it. If you're making loss, you split it. So that's one beautiful thing you can hear from, that you can get from equity. You see the advantages. There's no need for repayment. You have access to expertise and network of investors, which is very key. So for example, you own a small business and you want an equity holder, and someone like me, for example, I'm not saying you should, someone like me, because I have access to a lot of information, that to give you some advantage, because I'll provide that information to help your business grow, something like that. So that's one other advantage of having equity instead of just borrowing money as loan and repaying with interest. Another advantage is shared risk and potential for shared reward. Shared risk, we've mentioned, if you're making loss, you share the loss with the partners. Then shared reward, if you make profit, you share the profit, which is also a disadvantage, because it's possible that your partners in equity are not bringing as much value as you want, and you are like the main driver because you brought the idea, you understand the business, you know what's at stake, and you're putting in all of that effort. And if your effort is yielding positive results, then you have to still share the reward with other people that own the company with you, which is the first disadvantage: the illusion of ownership and control. Because you no longer own the business by yourself, you now share that responsibility with someone else. They have a say. If you say, we want to do this, they can say, no, let's do this. So that dilution of ownership and control is what you not easily have control over. Then more complex legal and financial structure. I didn't want to bore you with the complications of the structure of equity. You could have ordinary shares, you could have preference share, and those are just the two broad categories by IFRS standards. But there are other little deviants from that, debentures, redeemable, but these are really complex that I wouldn't want to bore you with. But depending on how complex your structure is, when you sell rights to people, it could involve involving legal practitioners to help you with the paperwork and agreements and how memorandum articles of associations and things like that. Then potential conflicts with investors. Of course, if it's just you can make those decisions and move on with your life. But if you're involving other people, then there is a risk of conflict that could ensure. And some examples of equities: you have venture capital, angel investors, and crowdfunding. Venture capitals are companies set up to give support businesses, but the way they support is not through loans. They invest as equity shareholders. Most likely want to have control because they have the big bucks, they have the money, they want to put in this money and control how the business go. Because they are very experienced, it could be some ways to approach some of them. There are quite a number of them in Nigeria. If you just Google, you'll probably find a very good number that you can contact. The angel investors are also common. They are mostly individuals that have money. Someone like Dangote now, he probably isn't involved so much in the day-to-day running of his business, but because he has a lot of money, if you have a business plan for like 10 million and you have access to demand, he can just give you 10 million as an angel investor. This is also common with fintech. We know a lot of fintech companies that are springing up in Nigeria now. So angel investor just gives them money because of the potentials those businesses have, and they are able to get returns over a number of years. Then, of course, we're familiar with crowdfunding, where people go online and ask people to support their business through equity contribution. So you have, well, let me not give this example, but you guys are familiar with some of these wonder banks that they say bring 500,000 and get 400,000 every month for the next 20 years. I hope you don't fall into those traps. But that's the idea of crowdfunding, where you sell the ideas to people and a lot of people invest from all over to participate, to eat the national cake, so to speak. So this is just an overview of equity financing that we have looked at. The next one is grants. Grants are non-refundable funds provided by various organizations to support specific business activities or sectors. So there are many organizations that give grants, and Lagos State Employment Trust Fund is the one. And there are some local, there are some international. So one thing I would just like to emphasize is the importance of doing research, proper research. And because the internet, the world is now a global village, like they say, you have access to a lot of resources online. There are most of these richest people in the world, they give grants, but they give them in specific sectors. Like this Bill Gates Foundation, they do some investing in startups or small businesses that are into research for mostly health, poverty alleviation, and things like that. So if your business is targeted at those sectors, then it could be an advantage for you to reach out to those international donors to get support. And a lot of people say, for sure, passion. Why that is good? I think the point of economics is to buy and sell and make profit. If you see an opportunities in areas, even if you don't have passion for it, if there is money there, go there. Don't say, oh, I'm not into health, I don't really like poverty alleviation, and you see someone willing to give grant, then why not? The point is, you have some free time, you're a business person, you like to make profit, go ahead and do it. So what are the advantages of grants? You don't need to repay, so you get the grant and you use it to run the business that you want, or that, of course, has been granted. Then the financial support for specific projects or activities. Like, you know, when you were reading my profile, it said corporate governance and strategic director for Hatchery. Hatchery is actually is an education outfit, but for children between 0 and 5 years old for literacy promotion. So that is a non-governmental organization, so something like a charity, if you would say. And there are sponsors that we can reach, that we do reach out to support the business because of what we are trying to achieve. So if that business is called out for that service, we get specific grant that covers that particular project or initiative. So that's an advantage. Then it enhances credibility and attract further investment. If you get an award from, say, World Bank because you're doing a specific project, or maybe Bill Gates Foundation, that is credibility. It means that other organizations can rely on that fact that, oh, this person is trustworthy because they've gotten some sort of finances from World Bank or Bill Gates. Then that would it enhances your credibility as a business owner, and you can actually attract more funds. Another disadvantage are, one, it's highly competitive application process. Most of them are long, so you probably spend days trying to fill out the application, and because the application process is long, you probably feel discouraged, like, oh, this is too long. But the thing is, if you put in the effort, you can actually achieve it. And then there are stringent eligibility criteria and reporting requirements. Because these people want to get value for their money, they want some sort of report. It could be weekly, could be monthly, could be annually, but they definitely want a report in a particular format. So it might need you to involve some experts, if you don't have them already, to help you draft the type of report these agencies will need. And because of their stringent eligibility criteria, a lot of people get discouraged. Well, like I said, if you are interested in running that type of business, it doesn't matter the bottlenecks that are on the way. You should be able to go ahead and do what you need to do. Someone said one time that I think he was already about 30 or thereabout, and they're telling him that he should go back to school. And he said, if he goes back to school, it means that by the time he graduates, he will be already 34, which is outside the employment age. If you know Nigeria, you have to be, at the time it was 24. And I think they are kind of reducing that criteria now to less than 26 or 28, or some even just remove the barrier to age. But the truth is, whether you go to school or not, in 4 years' time, you'll still be 34. So go ahead and do it. Then there's restricted usage and accountability. Because the money is not open to other businesses, you have to use it for the business that it was assigned for. Examples are government grants, which Lagos State Employment Trust Fund gives, non-profit organizations, like I mentioned, like World Bank, then research institution, like something that Bill Gates has. So those are some of the examples of companies that can give you those grants. The third aspect of raising finance is through loans. Why this is very good, it can also have its downsides. Loans involve borrowing money from financial institutions or lenders with agreement to repay the principal amount plus interest. One advantage of loan is that it puts you on the edge. I'm going to go through all of these advantages, but it puts you on the edge. Because you know it's not your money, you put in the extra effort to ensure that you pay back. Of course, I assume that as a business owner, you are credible. Of course, that's why you get loan in the first place. But it puts you on that edge where you know that at the end of 6 months, I need to pay back this money. And you go all out to ensure that you're doing what you're supposed to do to pay back. From the notes you can see from the slide, Control and ownership remains with the business. This is one key advantage, um, that is also a disadvantage to equity, because you're just borrowing. You have control. You can tell what you want to do with the money and all the things. You can control the staff. You can control investment and things like that. And the ownership remains with you, except when there's a default. Then flexibility in terms of loan structure and repayment options. Uh, Depending on the loan you're getting, they usually tell you the loan is payable within 5 years, and you get to pay maybe 100K every month. And if you're making a profit of 300K every month, then that's a good option. You're just paying just about 30% for the loan that is generating the income that you get a profit of 300K, which is good. So you get that flexibility, and you know how long you have to pay. And once you're done, you're done. Then the possibility of building a positive credit history. I know that this is not very common with individuals, but for companies, banks do take this seriously. If you have borrowed money in the past and you're able to pay according to your structure and repayment plans, then it goes a long way to build credibility for future loans. So that's the credit history that you can have. And I think recently there's a company that has introduced that credit rating in Nigeria as well. So even as a one-man business, you can still benefit from that goodwill of having a positive credit history. Another thing, just before I move on to the disadvantages, is that for the flexibility, you can renegotiate the terms of the loan. If you feel that your business is not making enough profit like you'd want, you can approach whoever is lending you the money to say, oh, can we renegotiate this? They probably increase your interest or give you some sort of holiday periods, but that option is available for you to exploit when there are some difficulties in repayment. I know from current information that the interest rates in Nigeria are quite high, but the banks are still almost the best organizations to get loans from. If your business is profitable, even if it's a 30% interest, like the explanation I gave, if you're making a profit of 300, profit, not revenue, profit, then a 30% repayment interest and loan, and that is even per annum. So it's not a bad option, but I'm sure that we'll go through it to see which one you should select, or which one will be best for your business. I think it's in the next slide. What are the disadvantages of loan? Interest and fees increase the overall cost of borrowing. With the same example of 30% interest per annum, if you borrow $1 million, million naira from the bank, and you need to pay about 300,000 in a year. So it means that what you're paying back is 1.3 million. That's not very wise, is it? So, well, it's the cost of capital, cost of borrowing. Then the collateral or personal guarantee may be required. This one is very key and somewhat related to the recent student loan that was enacted by the new president. You have to get a collateral from a lawyer that has 10 years experience. So things like that. They might ask you to bring your house documents as collateral. And if you are not the only owner of the house, that might be some sort of challenge. Or if you don't have a house, or if you don't even have any collateral to give, then there could be a challenge. Then the risk of default and potential impacts on credit rating. Of course, we did mention this, that if you have a loan and you default in payment, then you risk the you have a risk of not having a good credit ratings, which could potentially affect your eligibility for future loans. Even if you get a future loan, the interest would be really high. So that's the disadvantages. That's the disadvantage, rather. Then the examples that we have mentioned are bank loans, microfinance institutions, online lending platforms. We've heard many very funny stories about how people get called and call their parents or call their friends to say this person is an armed robber because he borrowed money and refused to pay. I hope none of us are part of that crowd. But yeah, if you're borrowing, please do and endeavor to pay back, especially because you're borrowing for business and you know that the business will do well. And this is why having a very structured plan at the beginning of your business is key. Even though you know the business in and out, it's still very important that you draw out a business plan. It guides you so that you can, when you are deviating from the projected profit, for example, you know what to do, you know what the attractions are or the issues are that could potentially affect the profitability of that business, and you're able to address those issues headlong. But if you don't have a plan, everything is coming from your head, then it will probably be a very difficult challenge for you to track how the business is going. And another thing I would just want to advise is keeping proper books of accounts. Just before we move to the factors to consider, proper books of accounts so that you're able to track your business, how your business is doing, the profitability of it. Then also learning, a lot of this is common with small businesses that I've worked with over the last couple of years. They tend to combine their personal finances with their business income. And that could be detrimental to prospective loans or finances that you might get from outsiders. So open a proper business account, register your business, open a proper business account, ensure that you're sending invoice and the monies are going through your banking. That way, you're able to track all your income and pay, of course, proper tax to the Lagos State government. Okay, what are the factors to consider before deciding on a funding source that is good for your business? The first is the funding needs. It determines the amount of capital required for your business growth plan. If you have a business plan that says you need 10 million naira, then you know that that is what you need. You know the need. So you probably know where best to get the money from. If you need 1 million, you probably, depending on who you know, some of your contacts might be willing to give you 1 million as angel investor to help you start your business. So you might not need to go and borrow 1 million from the bank with 30% interest. I'm sure a friend that you might know or a friend of a friend that's willing to give you that money, especially if your business plan is good, they'll be willing to give you that money. They will probably charge you less interest. So these are some of the things to consider. How much do you need? A lot of small businesses don't even know, I need money, I just need money. I just need money to start. But how much do you need? Very key. 2, risk tolerance. Assess your willingness to give up ownership, take on debt, or meet grant requirements. I think the easiest one here is grant, even though it takes a lot of time to complete because of the complications, but it's free money and you are doing it in line with the objective of the fund. It's mostly easy. Then if you're willing to relinquish your ownership, then you can think about equity. If you want access to expert knowledge in a particular area, that's why I don't know if you watch the dens, Lion's Den. Most of these startups that come to Lion Den, they are not coming because they don't have the money. They want those the guys on the other side to invest in their companies and bring the weight that they carry, like the network and the experience that they carry to support their business. So, but if you are willing to relinquish your rights, because if those guys are coming, they'll probably come in as mostly angel investors and might want to take up some of your rights and control of the business. So if you are happy to lose that, then give it a go. Then time frame, consider the urgency and timeline for assessing the funds. There are some, especially grants, it might take quite a while to finally get the alert in your bank account. Some of them take time and some are very quick. These micro lenders, that I think their own is really, really fast, and they don't even require so much information from you. Once you give them name, contact number, I've not done them before, but I think it's really easy because almost everybody, you see a lot of news online about how people have defaulted. So I just assume that it's really easy to get access to those monies, and they don't do a lot of due diligence because their interest is high. If they borrow 10 people, because of the high interest, even if 5 defaults, they will still make profit because of the high interest they charge the other 5 that don't default. So consider the urgency and timeline for assessing the funds to see if it's a if it will meet your need. If you apply for a fund and it's going to come in the next 2 years, there are some funds that take that long. Then do you need that fund? Do you really need that fund? Do you have that time to wait? And then the next one is eligibility. Evaluate the criteria and prerequisites for each funding option. All funding would definitely have conditions attached to them. Even the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund money that you could get access to would have criteria and prerequisites, things you need to meet to continue to enjoy that benefit. So look at those eligibility to see if you are even eligible. For the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund grant, I would believe that you have to be resident in Lagos, probably have your last STRA and register, probably paid some taxes in the past, or if you have in employment or things like that to have access. So see, if you're based outside Lagos, you might not be eligible for that grant. Then future plans. Align your funding choice with long-term goals and vision. I know this is not very common in Nigeria, but there's a term now they call ethical investment, where if, for example, you don't smoke, if you don't smoke, sorry for using the example, you don't want to invest in companies that promote smoking. I write books. I've written 14 books. One of those books I wrote, and the advert for cigarettes. In fact, I don't even need to apologize earlier. If you are still smoking, it's dangerous for your health. The carton of the cigarette actually has smokers are liable to die young. But people still buy it and smoke. Some people smoke as much as 1 packet a day. That's dangerous. That's just by the way. But so align your funding choice to goals. What is your vision? Do you have some ethical criteria? Is the company involved in alcohol production, for example, that wants to give you the money or things like that? So if they don't align to your preferences, then of course you move on to the ones that align. Just checking my time to see. Hope I'm not taking. Okay, so it's just yeah, still have quite some time. Okay. Best practices. We have looked at the different funds we looked at equity, we looked at grants, we looked at loans. We have looked at things to consider before deciding which one to go with. But best practices, I know I've given some how you can prepare your books of accounts, separating your money, but just best practices for fundraising. And then we'll do a roundup. Then we can now ask questions. First, research extensively about available funding options and opportunities. Key, 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 key. This is key. Everything you ever need in this life is on Google. If you can't find it on Google, because it's probably a lot of research to do, there are now AIs now that you can exploit and see how you can get information from those sources to help you do very good research, know what funds are available, not just locally, not just within Lagos State, even outside the country. There are very generous, rich people that are willing to give money for what they believe in. So do your research, like a proper job, and you'll be surprised at how many options you would probably be able to get. Then develop a compelling business plan and pitch deck to attract investors or grant provider. A lot of small businesses often overlook this very key um, feature when you are trying to raise funds. No matter how small the business is or how easy you think the operations of that business is, you need to develop a business plan. A business plan, apart from helping you to raise funds, also helps the direction of your business. In case you are deviating from original plan, you would know. Of course, you can always go back and revise it and see how you can update it to meet current expectations. But the point is, you need to develop a good business plan, which could be 10 pages, 20 pages, 100 pages, depending on kind of complicated business plans or just something easy. Then a pitch deck, it's a summary of that business plan that you present to investors. Investors don't have time to go over 10 pages of documents or 100 pages of documents. They probably just want to see the highlights. Then if anything is attractive, they call you up to say, oh, explain this more for me, to me, and they take it from there. So take your time. With the tools available online, you probably might not need someone to help you with this. You can just do it yourself. It helps. It helps. It helps you understand your business because you're doing the business plan. You look at the finances, look at the marketing, look at your target audience, and all of that information. It helps you to understand your business better. Just one time I was trying to I had this idea of a business. I needed to involve an expert, and I paid very good money for them to help me do it. Even though I could do it myself, I still engaged someone I believe was more experienced and understood the environment, the target audience that I was trying to attract to help me with that plan. Then network with industry expert mentors and potential investors. This is not very common in Nigeria, but abroad they have these industry meetings that people go out just to meet other people, investors. But government is trying these days to organize something like what we're having now. And I believe the Lagos State also has other programs where you can come and network with people and talk to mentors or experts in the areas that you want to do business in. And of course, you could get access to potential investors during those meetings. And another point I would just like to mention here is it doesn't have to be a formal meeting or forum. It could be in if you attend the church, for example, or a mosque or anything, any gathering that you belong to. You can network, let people know you in those places, join a department if there's anything like that. Then it helps you to build your network. Oh, this is what I do. And before you know it, what's go round and someone has information that you need to take you to the next level. Then prepare financial projections and demonstrate strong return on investment. I cannot overemphasize this. This should be part of your business plans. So you are looking for 10 million in the next 5 years. How much will that 10 million generate? How much profit will it bring? If I want to give you money to do that business, how much will I get back in 3 years and 5 years? Things like that. Investors want to see these numbers and see if your projections are reasonable for them to want to invest in. Then this is key. Be transparent and responsive during application or negotiation process. Don't have ulterior motives. Be very open, a trustworthy person. One thing I discovered when I relocated to the abroad is how transparent a lot of people are. You can just go to a shop and nobody is there, just POS, that POS machine. You just take, you scan your thing and go. I'm not very sure we have those type of arrangements in Nigeria. Someone will probably just enter, collect something, and run away. That's not to say that everyone is like that, but I think it starts with an individual. Just decide in your heart that you're going to be a good person. You're going to be transparent. You're going to give it your best shot, no matter the inconveniences that you might have. So be transparent, and also during negotiation process, don't be rigid, be flexible. Be flexible. Don't say, oh, it's 10 million I need now or I die. Sorry for using that term, but you get the point. Be flexible. If it's 10 million you need, but you can get 5 million, or you can get 3 million, you can start with that. Cut down the big picture or the big budget and start with the small one and see how you can grow from there. The person giving you 3 million will probably have the capacity to give you 10 million if they start saying what you do with that 3 million. And then the last point, seek professional advice from accountants, lawyer, or financial consultants. This is also not a very common practice in Nigeria, but if you are starting a real business, I would say something above 10 million, at least involve an accountant. Not just because I'm an accountant, but because of the value that you would get. Some can even do it for free. So you don't always think about money. I've advised a lot of small businesses for free in the past without collecting money. So it's not just about the money. Some people are actually just interested in seeing other people make progress in life, and it can give you that information for free. If you are registering a business, it might be easy. It might be easy for you to do it, but you can also involve a lawyer to help you register, especially if you are involving other people in a partnership, or you are bringing people on board as equity holders. It might be okay for you to involve a lawyer to help you draw the fine line. If you don't do that and you have problem in the future, it might be quite difficult for you to come out of that situation. And of course, financial consultants are there to help you navigate your business projections, financial analysis, and things like that that investors would like to see. So that is basically what we where we're going to end the discussion this afternoon now. But just as a passing final information for you, it is very important to choose the right funding source for your business. We have highlighted the different advantages and disadvantages of them, and the things that you need to look out for to choose a particular source of funding And those are key for you to exploit before deciding, because grant is free doesn't necessarily mean you should choose that, especially if the timing might not be convenient for the opportunity that you're trying to pursue. Then look at how you can conveniently explore the combination of all of these three sources of income, of equity, grants, and loans to meet financial needs. It's possible for you to have all of this. You can get a little loan here, grants here, and some equity financing here. Families and friends can support. Then crowdfunding, if your business is on a startup route, you can explore that option. Then of course, Lagos State is always there to help you if you get stuck. And I believe part of the services, like I mentioned earlier, the Lagos State grant gives is not just money for your business, they also provide capacity building. So if you get stuck at any point, you can always reach out to Lagos State Employment Trust Fund for guidance, and it could direct you to the appropriate information that you need to help you start building your business. Thank you very much for your attention to what I have said so far, and I hope that you found it valuable. So we'll just open the option for questions, then
Okay,
we can
sir.
take it from there.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so much, Mr. Ephraim. That was a very educative presentation. Very, very educative. And I will also agree, or my audience or the audience out there listening to us will also agree that this section has been really, really enlightening and also educative. Now, while you push in your questions, let me just take a summary of what he has said, major key points that Mr. Ephraim said while he was presenting. So he said there are three major sources of how you can get funding, which is one, equity. Equity is divided into three also. That's crowdfunding and what's it called? Ventures. Okay, crowdfunding and it has crowdfunding, ventures, and under crowdfunding is where under ventures where we have angel investors. So going further, there's also we have under how to get funding. There's grants. And also there is loan. Now I also want to let you know that at LSETF we also have loan opportunity for business owners. Just get to our website, you will see the apply for loan, where you'll be able to read what kind of loan you need, what kind of business are you into, and just like what Mr. Ephraim has said, you must be residential in Lagos. You must have your LASTRA number. You must have your tax ID. And what have you. So check on our website for more details on that. Now, moving forward now, he also mentioned some things that I also want you to take into cognizance, which is, he said, factors to consider before seeking for funds. And one, he said, we have the fund needs. What do you want to use the money for? That's one thing you need to also put into consideration. Risk tolerance. Also, what do you need? What do you need to give up for you to be able to get the fund that you need? And also he talked about time frame. Okay, what period of time do you need the fund? Is the fund going to be available to you at that period of time? And also eligibility. What are the credentials? What are the knowledge, skills, the certification you have for you to be able to be qualified for that funding opportunity you're applying for? And also he talked about future plans. What are your long-term goals for you to be able to get this funding on what you want to use the funding for? And lastly, talked about best practices for funding opportunity. But so, it made mention of research for funds. So for you to be able to be to get this or to get funding, go online, make different research, on what's on that funding that you need. Okay, and also we have networking now, and also at LSETF we have networking opportunity. Now, for example, for those that are into tech, we have mentorship program. We have the Idea All program that is running under the Lagos Innovate program of LSETF. Yeah, that's where you can get mentorship for your business idea. Also, there's also pitching, where you have the opportunity to pitch your idea for prospective investors. So going forward, also, he mentioned under the best practices for fundraising, he talked about projecting your finances. So have a projection of your finance, which is very, very important. I also made mention of something I would like to say, said when your business, try to differentiate, try to have a different account for your business venture and your personal expenses. So don't spend your profits that you're making in your business. And lastly, said be transparent. Whatever you do, ensure that you are transparent in your business, because integrity goes a long way to really pay as a business owners. He also said that it's not necessary for you to have passion. Whenever you see opportunity, go for it. Any opportunity you see that there's money there, go for it and get the money and invest in your business. Wow, this has really, I'm sure you agree with me, those online listening to us, that this section has really been so educative. If you know that, I want you to do something for me. Just send an image of hand clap to Mr. Ephraim, just as a sign to appreciate all what he has shared, the knowledge he has shared with us today. Thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim, for this opportunity. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge to us. Thank you. So now, this is the opportunity for questions. Yeah, so I already have Khadijat, Oluwade. Okay, this person does not have a name. Redimi Note 2. Yeah, wanting to ask their question. Okay, so let me just allow Khadijat, let's just make your question. Okay. I think you should just send this as a chat. Then Mr. Ephraim will be able to see it and respond to it. Okay.
Okay, I think there's one question from Hamed Owolabi. He's saying, what does an angel investor look for in a business before investing in it? Typically, you would have been expected to have a business plan, but angel investor would want to see a pitch deck. Angel investors are mostly individuals that have free money that they want to give out. So they want to see how much return on investment they will get at the earliest. So even if your business is profitable in year 10, and they want their monies to come back in year 3, then they'll probably not want to invest in your business. So, but that doesn't mean you can't get angel investors that want long-term, they want to invest for long-term. So, but it's mostly your profitability that determines if they would invest or not. I hope that helps you, Hamed. Then I think this one is for you, Mr. Auditor. He said, can I access up to 9 million to produce rice paddings? This is from Bright Doro.
So Bright, like I said, you just go to our website, read all the necessary information, every necessary information for you to know about our loan application is on our website. Once again, the website is www.lsetf.ng, www.lsetf.ng. So let's take the question from Namdi. So Namdi says, sir, please, what is the name of the company that give grant without long process? And also, how do I get a partner who can support my business?
Very good question, Namdi, and thank you very much for that question. The companies that can give you grant without long process is not something I have handy at the moment. But I'm sure what I usually do if I'm looking for something is isolate 10 biggest. I like big things. So 10 biggest, then I look at the criteria and see, and I can just draw an Excel to look at the different criteria, the size, how much they can give, how long it takes for them to respond, and areas that they are looking for, and see the ones that I meet. Once I exhaust that 10, I look for the next 10 or top 20 now, or top 50 or top 100. That way you'll be able to narrow down what you really need to move forward. Then how do you get partners? Probably what we have been saying since is networking. A friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. Another thing I would maybe want to say is probably build a brand. What are you known for? Myself, I post on LinkedIn every Tuesday. So I'm trying to build a brand as a coach for personal finance and career advisor. So I post every Tuesday. I've written books. So I'm building a brand with that information. And so if you build a brand, people know you for something. And once you reach out, it's easy for people to network with you and provide support that you need.
Okay. Thank you guys. I believe that really answers the question. So now go straight to the next question from Bright Doro. Can I access up to 9? Okay, that has been answered. So I said you should check on our website for further information. So from Ahmed Owolabi, can I get Mr. Ephraim's email address or WhatsApp contacts? So yeah, so let's just go further. I think Mr. Ephraim will address that later. Desmond asked a question. He said, based on the little research I did recently, as my business is just 2 months old, I realized that most of the reasonable loans / grants based on amount available in Nigeria is for business with at least 1 year existence. So my question is, how do newly start-up business get reasonable loan or grants?
Very good question, Desmond. Detailed too. Well done. There's no easy way to answer this, but I'll just go straight to it because I know that beauty business is like growing up. You can't just be born today and start working. You need some time to grow. And experience doesn't come with how smart you are, is how many of it you have. So most business loan provider or grant provider want to see a track record that your business is actually sustainable. They also want to see that you are serious, because the sad truth is that 4 out of 5 startup businesses, that's 80%, they crash within the first 5 years. So they need to be sure that your business can stand the test of time before they can invest in that business. So what I would encourage you to do, once you start a business, don't look for the big things initially. I'm not saying don't think big, don't try to start from the top. You can start within. How much savings do you have first? How much can friends and family members contribute to start? Then once you kickstart, show the world that you can actually do something with this 500,000 that you have received, or 200,000 or 100,000 that you have received. Then once you build that up to a year, you can now present a financial statement to say, oh, I had 50,000 at the beginning of the year. I've made 500,000 with it. These are the things I did. And you can approach a later on to say, Oga, please, how can you help your boy? And I'm sure you'll get support from then on.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim. Yeah, so I want to let you know that Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, we are trying every of our best to ensure that we support business owners, even startups, So like you can also check the Lagos Innovate program that we have to see whether you can apply for any of our programs under that sector. Now, we know very well at Lagos State Employment Trust Fund that business owners contribute. They are one of the highest employment sector that employ more. At least from what Mr. Ephraim has said, is that 84% of business owners, that's MSME owners, they are the ones that employ majorly. So we know that, and we are ready to give every of our support that we have. Just like I said, go to our website, check out all the various programs all various programs that we have that you will be interested in. So let's go straight now to Duka Richard For those of us who hasn't paid tax before and are yet to register our respective business, how long will it take to access this grant after doing the needful? So, okay.
That'll be from you.
Okay, so okay, so if that in that you just get yourself registered, have your business registered, and that's have your LSETF ID. Now, when you check our website for the loans program that we have, there are certain information that would help you to that will give answers to this your question. Just get on our website and you get the answer to this, right? Majorly, we are interested in those that have tax ID. Tax ID is something that is quick, it's fast. You register, you get your tax ID, just pay a little amount of money. I don't think it's up to 15,000 or something. Just, pay a little amount, get your tax ID. Then you can apply for, and I also have a LSETF ID. Then you can go ahead and apply for any of the loan programs that you fall in. I believe that answers the question, Richard. So going to Gloria Peter's question. Thank you, Mr. Ephraim, for that insightful lecture. I am looking forward to seeing you in person, if you don't mind. Wow, my question is that, does it mean that without a website, one cannot get a grant in any business?
Thank you, Gloria, for that question and compliment. Can we see in person? Maybe someday. It would be good to see some of you. Then website. It's not very common these days to have a website. What is important is track records. Some businesses are based on Instagram and Twitter. So you don't necessarily have, except you, they are, even if you need referrals from people or testimonies from people even have those information on Instagram. So the website is just an addendum, an addition to what people do. I have a personal website. That's because of what I do. Also, I'm active on Instagram and LinkedIn, for example. But the website is just like a depository of all the catalogs of my books for people that want to buy from my website, or people that want links to the services that I provide, for example. So if your business is not in line with all of that need, what investors want to see is that you have a good business plan, you have a pitch deck, or you have some track record of businesses you have done in the past and profitability of the business. Then they will invest. The ones that want grant, except that's a criteria for the part of the criteria for selection, then you can get very cheap. Even you can develop your own website without paying anyone. There are tools online that you can use. You might just need to pay for the domain name and, of course, hosting. But apart from that, you can do all of the other ones if that is a requirement for that grant. Well, for Lagos State, I'm not sure that is a requirement to have a website.
Yes, so thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim, for that. I think that answers the question. So we have another one here from an anonymous attendee. Does LSETF allow beneficiary of loan to also apply for grants at the same time? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And yeah. So Sunday Ayola, structureless business, will it still be able to attract loan or grants?
Thank you, Sunday. That's actually my first name, Sunday. Structureless business, you can have a one-man business, it's just you. So what's the structure? Structure is really how you do stuff, how you do things that you can, there's a process in place. Like if I'm selling something, how do I buy that thing? How do I transform if I do transform it? How do I sell it? That's the process. But then maybe you have an accounts department. For more complex structure, you have a finance department, you have manufacturing department, you have marketing. That's for more or bigger organization. But for a one-man business, there's really no strict structure. It's just a plan that you have that you can run with. If it's only you, if you are a fashion designer, for example, and you make the dress yourself, or you're a platform that connects people that make dress to people that buy those dresses. There are a lot of fashion designers these days that don't sew. They just connect the consumer to the producers. They have tailors that are making all those dresses that they pay, and they sell it at a premium price. So that way, there's really no structure because it's one-man business that you're providing. So one-man business are supported, and you could get access to loan or grant. If you are trying to approach a bank for a loan, you might need to present an account. Maybe that's what you calling structure. But for Lagos State, apart from the requirement that Mr. Auditor has mentioned about LASTRA and registering your business, opening bank accounts, there's really no extreme or difficult structure that will limit you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim, for that. Yeah, so to add more to what Mr. Ephraim has said, just get to our website. You see the information there. Okay, what is the best way? Femi Oguntade is asking that what is the best way to get a co-founder for a business? A co-founder for a business.
Thank you for that question, Femi. Your friend, I've started a lot of organizations, businesses or ventures with friends and colleagues. Maybe you cosmates, start a business with cosmates. So if you don't have cosmates, you have neighbors, people in your neighborhood. And this is why it's good to have, because you attract the kind of person you are. If you're a business person, you most likely have someone that is also into business that you can partner with. And again, there are other people online that you can reach out to, maybe through LinkedIn, to say, oh, I like what you're doing. I'm into this. I also like us to do something together. If you have a good idea and those people are open to partnership, they can reach out to you. So you can get online, you can get from your immediate surroundings, or your current network of friends or classmates, and things like that. I hope that helps you, man.
That's done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim. Yeah, that really answers it. So for Olawale Akindeji, yeah, the question now, our loan platform said, what are the requirements? What are the requirements to access loan and grants in LSETF? Like I said, the information is there on our website. Now, when you click on our website, because it said our website does not give the opportunity, is only for reading. You can also apply via our website. Just to go there, you see the area of programs. That's at the title menu. You see programs. Click on the programs. When you click on the programs, it will give you a drop down of the various programs that we are doing. Then you click on it. From there to take you to where and how you can apply. I believe that answers the question, Olawale. So next person, Oluwayomi Ogunshola. Your question says, I've done a logistic business plan while my issue is financing / an accounting plan for the business as in computing. I've done that. He said he has done a business plan, but the issue is the finance and the accounting plan for the business.
Okay. Oluwayomi, this is a very tricky question. I told you during my presentation, I did a business plan, not because I can't do one, but I wanted some expertise, and I paid £600 for it. In today's money, it's more than 500,000. And that's because of the kind of quality of work I wanted. So for us, a very small business, you don't probably need an accountant to help you with that finances. It's just, this is how much I have. This is how much I'm going to spend for this and that and that and that. This is how much I plan to make as revenue. This is how much profit I need to make. It's that simple. You can get templates online on how to do a financial projection for a small business. But if you feel that it's becoming challenging and you need to involve an expert, then go for it. There are some that could really charge very small amounts to help you put one or two things together. I charge very high, so I'll probably, I don't know how much you're willing to spend. I really charge high. For the average person, I charge really high.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim. Thank you for really stating that. So I believe that answers your question. Now, in the chat box, we have some of our participants asking for your profile, your LinkedIn profile, your social media profile, and how they can connect with you. So I hope you can release that. You can let them have that so that they can connect with you for further engagement.
Definitely. I'll send the slides. I'll probably have my details on the slides that you can share with people. But I'm on LinkedIn. If you search my name and surname, you probably see me. Ephraim Unuigbe. You probably see me. Then on Instagram, I Ephraim Books, mostly used for my books and other things. But I Ephraim Books on Instagram. On Twitter is Ephraim Books, at Ephraim Books on Twitter. And those are places you see me. Facebook is really not, well, on Facebook is also I Ephraim Books. But LinkedIn, just my name and surname, and you can send a request there. We can connect and take it from there.
Thank you so much,
well,
Mr.
I'll share the slide. Yeah, I'll share the slide. Would have all those information.
You would, yeah. Okay, so I believe that really answers the question. So Gloria Peter, okay, so for the question he asks is that how can you get a resource person within LSETF to assist in your project? So another thing we do at LSETF is also we organize webinar sections, we organize masterclass. So I believe if you're on the lookout for our programs, you will be able to, we also have HR clinics. Yours is just to ensure you are conversant with our website, to look out for trainings. We announce them on every of our social media platform. For example, this webinar section, it was advertised on our social media platform. So we also have several programs like that would really, really help you to on how to write a business plan and other things that you need to grow your business. So you just be on the lookout for that trainings that we have, masterclass training, webinar sections, HR classes. Just be on the lookout for them. Thank you so much. So going forward, also a question from an anonymous attendee: how can I stop using my business income for my personal or family expenses? Or how can I undo my personal expenses without touching my business income?
That is a very good question. Why it is obvious, has an obvious answer, this can ultimately be very challenging. It's a struggle for most small businesses. I totally agree, especially if you haven't done that in the past. But what I would encourage you to do is try to know how much capital you're contributing to this business. If you had 200,000 as your total income, don't put all the 200,000 into the business because you need to eat. So put 100K for your family expenses, groceries, rent, transport, and things that you do for daily upkeep. Then 100K, put that in the business account. Simple as that. So when you're spending for business, spend from the 100K in the business account. Ensure that you are doing transfer or people are paying into that business account for business reasons. Then for personal reasons, they are mostly what you use your money to spend for what you buy at home. Then at the end of the month, pay yourself some salary. The problem is if you don't pay yourself salary, you think, oh, all money na money. You just go into the business thing and spend from it to buy, say, lunch, or for example. That's not encouraged at all. So pay yourself some, maybe 40K or 30K or 20K per month. So you can use that one as salary. So you put that as a business expense. Then you use that 20K to continue to do your personal expenses. That way, in your mind, you know that these monies are not the same. You earn salaries that you're recording, and you're able to keep track of your business spending without necessarily touching it.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim, for that. So going forward now, another question here from Uche Peace Okoro, and it says, I run a school and add order that's catering and farming to it. My challenge the challenge is how to fund them sufficiently.
Okay, thank you, Uche, for that question. For school, I would assume that people pay school fees, and are you trying to have 5 classrooms at the same time or 10? You know, like I mentioned earlier when I was trying to answer someone's question, you might just need to start with what you have instead of looking for the big money to have several classrooms for people. And because you get school fees, it might not break even initially, but you have some monies to continue to run for the run of the business. Catering is easy. You don't really need money for catering, do you? Because if you have a contract, except you are cooking every day for people to buy, if it's catering for occasions, people usually put some deposit on ground for you to buy the things you need. Then once you supply, they balance you. So ask for what you need to buy the full stuff before agreeing to the contract. So you buy all the full stuff, you know that what you receive later will just be your profit. So even if they don't get you balance, you know that you're not making loss. Okay, so that should cover for catering and farming. You probably need some monies to start, but you can do partnership. Are you tilling the ground, or you are providing marketing for farming? Farming is complex, so you probably won't need money as a farmer if you are just marketing. So you get farmers that are doing the hard work in the farm, and you're just providing marketing or market for those produce. Yeah, a lot of value chain proposition in farming that you can explore instead of doing all the whole process from start to finish. And I think that's where the funding issue comes in. If you find one value proposition that you can provide in that long chain, you probably won't need money for farming as well. Catering, I've mentioned in school, maybe start from what you can afford to, the space you can afford to rent, if that's major. I think that's a major expense, or maybe teachers that you're paying. You can decide to start with 2, 3 teachers, so 10, just cut your code according to what you have, then scale up gradually. You get experience in that more than starting with 10 million. That might seem too big to start with. I hope that answers your question, Uche.
Yeah, Uche, I hope that really answered your question. Thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim, for that. And Ephraim Balogun says, can you help with list of organizations that give grants to Nigeria?
If you just Google that, list of organizations that give grants to Nigeria on Google, you'll be surprised the number of companies you see. That's pretty straightforward, Ephraim. I'm sure you'll find loads of information on Google.
Okay, so Ephraim, that's it. Get to Google. Google is your friend. Search it out on Google. So Afiz Olariwaju. Okay, you say, how can LSETF help a registered MSME backyard farmer to grow? So don't worry, you're already getting answer to that question. Okay, so Sunday Ayola, I think this is missing. Sunday asking the second question now. Is it only online one can access LSETF grant or loan? Yes, online, and you can also visit. We have a liaison office across the 20 local government or 26 local governments in Lagos. So you can get to any of our liaison officers and meet any of our officers. They will put you through on how to apply for loan programs and also grants. So, okay, Abimbola Oludari Ojo, yeah, you're getting your answer very soon. So I think on this note, we don't have any more questions. Yeah, I think so. So, Mr. Ephraim, I don't know whether you have any parting words for us or any, parting words advice to young people, young business owners that we have on this platform.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Auditor. Really good opportunity to present to this wonderful audience and the privilege to present for the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. I want to just personally thank you for that opportunity. And parting words to participants is that I mentioned 4 out of 5 small businesses fail in the first 5 years. But the good news is you don't have to be part of that 80%. You can be part of that 20%. So, and the people that succeeded, 20% that succeeded, they don't have 2 heads, like they say in Nigeria. They have put in all the work and put in all the effort. So this is what I want, the mindset I want you to have, that you can succeed in your business venture. There are challenges that we have mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, but a lot of Nigerians are survivors, and you are one of those survivors. You can survive, and you can make progress with your business. So just put in the right things and put what we have discussed here this afternoon to practice, and I know for sure that you'll succeed. I wish you all the best in your future businesses and adventure as you, for those of you that haven't started, as you think about starting. I wish you all the best in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim. Sincerely, I have also really gained from this section. And I also believe that the participants outside there listening to us have also gained a lot from this section. Now, in one of the book, let me just say 1 or 2 things. I read a book recently, and then in that book, Barack Obama was saying that one of the major ways to reduce youth unemployment is to also support business owners, support them so that they can also create employment. So at LSETF, Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, we are really keen about developing and improving, business owners, create avenue for them, create the enabling environment for them to be able to either start the business they want to start, those that have started improving the business, and those that are improving to also expand their business. And because we believe that when business owners are being supported, when they are given the enabling environment, they would, they can, to increase and to expand, they can in turn also create employment for people outside. And when more people are employed, gradually the unemployment rate is going to be reduced. Now, quickly, just a quick one. Let me just summarize what we have, what Mr. Ephraim has dished out to us today. He said that, that 84% of the employment opportunity in Nigeria is created by MSME owners, which is very fantastic. He also made mention of the ways by which you can get funding. He said through equity, and under that equity, we have the crowdfunding and we have the ventures. The ventures is when we have what's it called, the agent investors. And furthermore, he mentioned grant. Grant is where you receive funding for your business without returning the fund. He also made mention of the loan. He said the loan is all about borrowing, getting money from people around you, investors, from friends, from family that believe in you. They borrow you money and they don't get interest from it, from that loan. He also made mention of, he made mention of it several times, and which I believe in making mention of it now. Again, he said, keep proper books of your accounting, have a proper documentation of your account, how your expenses, your profits, have a very, book that you're keeping this. And in LSETF, we also have our HR clinic where we train or educate our business owners on bookkeeping, how they can keep proper account book of their business. So you also made mention of something that I also have said it earlier on, but I think it's also very important for me to say it. He said, don't tie your personal finance with your business finance. Separate it. One of the major factors that is killing the business today is because we have not been able to differentiate between our personal expenses and business expenses, and that is it. So on this note, I want to once again thank our facilitator for the knowledge that he has shared with us. Thank you so much. It has really been an educative time with you, sir. And to our audience outside there, I'm sure you have learned one or two things. It's not enough for you to learn. It is now time for you to put to practice what you have learned. We believe in you at LSETF, and we are ready to support you, and we will always be there to support you, to ensure that you start your business, you improve your business, you expand your business, and in turn create job opportunity for other people. Thank you for listening to us. God bless you.